Good morning.
Good afternoon.
Good evening. I'm Ariel.
I'm Shia.
Welcome to being here.
No, welcome to paradise.
Yeah, it's welcome to paradise.
You know, there was a Paradise, Massachusetts, where there was that police chief.
In Paradise?
In Paradise.
Oh, yes, it's a good fictional character in
Yeah,
Paradise.
it's one of those Robert B. Parker
books and movies.
Yeah.
Tom Selleck played the character.
Tom Selleck, yeah.
Shai and I were chuckling because we looked at each other right before we started this podcast and said, "This is what paradise looks and feels like." And we had been discussing a little earlier with each other as we were getting our tea and espresso. We went for both. How we're a little low energy today. And, you know, you have the picture that paradise, it looks and feels a certain way, and your body looks and feels a certain way. And we're not quite as energetic as my mental picture of paradise.
We should be.
Yeah.
Right,
Which is wonderful. It's a wonderful place
to start
being here. When you're being here, it's about noticing how you are without judging what you see. Third principle of instantaneous transformation, by the way.
It is.
It is. So we may as well use our ears today, don't you think?
I think so. Well, speaking of using ears, you know, I have in my Suburban vehicle I put in a radio that works off Bluetooth because
the car's so old it came before Bluetooth.
That's right. And so it randomly listens to playlists in my phone. And one of the playlists is you, or there are segments of you reading one of our books. And so the universe shows up very interestingly in that you'll start talking about living in the moment, or the third principle of instantaneous transformation. And it's cool with the music that precedes and follows it.
That's very fun. You go from having friends in low places to living in the moment.
Exactly. So let's talk about living in the moment. What's the thing you need to do to get here? Well, there's nothing to do, really.
You know, if you bring your full attention to whatever it is you're doing, and it includes how you're being, life gets simple.
Well, that's what happened on the way downstairs to the kitchen to pick up my phone to make a call. I thought of other things that I could be doing at the same time, because that's the way my mind works. You know, it goes to all the things I could be doing rather than be unidirected. So where I'm going to get my phone is where I was going, rather than, I could listen to a podcast in the 2 minutes that I have left before I'm due to be here. You know, like my mind wants to add other stuff.
Yeah, it's pretty speedy.
Rather than just bring myself here. So anyway.
Shai was talking to me the other day about, he got up a bit earlier than I did. And he went into the kitchen, and off the kitchen is our dining area and has a big picture window. And our cat baby really enjoys often being in that area. And some mornings she's not particularly cuddly, and other mornings she really loves being picked up. And this was one of those mornings where Shia picked her up and he was holding her and, you know, gazing out the picture window. And at least what you said to me is at some point you started thinking, and she vaulted out of your arms because she didn't want half a Shia.
Yep.
And then I had the experience of that the other day. I was holding her, and I was up here in the office. She normally doesn't like to be with me when I'm on Zoom, and I was working with Zoe on newsletters, and shout out to you, Zoe, for all the great work you do on making our newsletter so beautiful. And my attention went out of my hands and into the screen and into whatever it is that we were working on. And that next stroke was like half an aerial. And she vaulted away. She's such a great indicator of if we're really being fully where we are or if we're distracted.
Well, yeah, but you can't carry a cat around all the time. You know?
I know, but life tells you lots of things.
Right.
You know, you trip a plate, different things you do. So that was one for you and one for me. So.
I know. I noticed that.
Hey, let's take our first guest, shall we? Okay, Heike, welcome to being here. Tell people where you're zooming in from.
Hi, I'm zooming in from Cologne, Germany today.
Nice.
So, and you really picked my brain because when you talked about paradise and not being upbeat, that was actually my question because for 3 years now, I have fatigue. So I really get fatigue very easily. It's like a medical condition also, but like the last week, it has been really severe. And basically today I've just slept the whole day through.
Good for you.
Okay.
I mean, good for you that you slept the whole day. See, you have an idea of where you're supposed to be. Look, you have long COVID.
Yes.
And long COVID is long.
In your case, it's long.
Long, 3 years long.
Yes.
In this moment, you're in a hell of a lot better shape than you have been over the past 3 years.
Yes.
And there have been moments when you were better than you are now from your judgment system, where you thought you had more energy or whatever.
True.
Well, look, you can only be exactly where you are. And like it or dislike it, that's irrelevant to where you are. So if you dislike it, then life becomes a complaint and a drag. If you allow yourself to experience what you're experiencing, who knows what magic can show up. But it doesn't show up in the midst of a complaint.
That being said, Heike, I think you have missed, I hate to call it a step, but you've missed something. The dislike for the situation and for today to be a really low-key day. The dislike is automatic. And if you catch the automaticity of your reaction to the circumstances and you watch it go by without judging yourself for having it, then the way is clear again.
See, look, we all have the idea that when we're enlightened, there's no more pain.
Yes.
I take it you have that idea?
I sure do, yes.
Yes. Well, being enlightened isn't a way of avoiding the domination of life. Life shows up the way it does. Now, you can either resist it, which keeps what you're resisting in play. It keeps you suffering in the dislike of what you've got, or you can allow yourself to have what's there. It's that simple. And it's very interesting, you see. This morning, just before we got on the call here, we're having a conversation, Ariel and I, about how I'm getting older in my body, how there's aches and pains and weakness that hadn't been there before. Now, I'm in my 80s, so that's reasonable. But also, I was getting ready to meet you in my universe.
So I said, who are we speaking to today? And he's like, oh, I know we're getting ready to do in New York, New Jersey area, a in-person seminar in a few weeks. The creativity and intuition seminar on Friday night, Saturday, and Sunday. It's the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. And I really, of August, it's upcoming. I really, thank you. I really see how you can synchronize and synchronize with the people around you.
Or not around you.
Or not around you.
The people who are thinking about, or you're thinking about them, that links up a connection, and it's not restricted by distance. So if you're thinking about us, we can feel in our body the way we feel in that moment. That may be different from when we felt the moment before you thought about us.
Shai's had aches and pains for years, and I worked on him for years. Back in the 80s, he perfected this type of body work which we named Shai work, where he would put pressure on an area, direct a person's attention into that. You bring your attention into that area, and you can release pain and tension and all that type of thing. But it's really not about going anywhere. It's about seeing what is. So I find it interesting when, he'll wake me up during the night. I'll work on him. I don't mind. The cat wakes me up during the night. I sleep really well. So, wake me up. I'll go back to sleep. I'm not worried about it. But this morning, it wasn't just he was in pain. Could you work on the spot that's a little tense? It meant something. Mm-hmm. I have a feeling, Heike, that you talk to yourself a lot about what it means and where it's going. And it's never good in that conversation.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, if the information I got off Google is correct, that we have 40 to 60,000 thoughts a day, and that 95 to 98% of those thoughts we had the day before that, and that 80% of those thoughts are negative, well, could be the 100% of those thoughts are negative. That's repeating negative thought. So, and your mind is a survival machine. Its interest is in survival. So it doesn't worry about good stuff because that's not a threat to your survival. It worries about the bad stuff, what a pain in your zorch means. Mm-hmm. You know what a zorch is?
It's a fictitious
place. It's a non-existent.
Okay.
It's a made-up word.
It's like a pain in your flibberty gibbet. It doesn't mean anything.
Now, you've said that word before in your life.
Flibberty gibbet is a thing from Sound of Music, Mary Poppins.
Yes.
I didn't know.
I think might be Sound of Music. It was one of them. It might be Sound of Music anyway.
We could Google it.
I have a hamstring injury, not hamstring,
Achilles
tendon injury right now, and it's simply from overuse, according to the physician. So I am wearing a brace for a week, and then I'll do some physical therapy and whatnot. So, and he's like, rest it. Don't do things that work that. So yesterday, I actually did quite a bit, but there came to be a point in the day where I did that sinful thing, Heike.
Took a nap?
I took a nap. And I woke up and I was thinking, oh man, I didn't get enough done today. And then I was speaking to our friend, Judy. I'm laying on the bed and we spoke. And I go, man, I had the nicest nap. I woke up and I had the idea that I didn't get enough done today. And she started laughing. She said, I have 2 jobs. I volunteer. And I have that thought every day. I think you think that conversation has to do with what you got done in a day, as opposed to that conversation is on tap, kind of like a keg of beer. You pull the the lever and the I'm Heike and I didn't accomplish enough today. I slept all day.
Yes, and if I'm honest, I had that before long COVID also, so that's not new.
Look, hey, here's the thing. If that thing about that 95 to 98% of our thoughts we've had before, we keep on playing old movies over and over and over again, reruns of things we said in our early childhood that we even forgot we said. They only seem current because our thought processes regurgitate them again and again.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to talk about reruns for a minute because, we often say, oh, it's reruns. And in my initial take on the word rerun is like, oh, God, that again. However, Shai and I have oftentimes watched a series of something on television, and then we'll watch it again. And I like the rerun. There's something kind of comfortable about knowing what's coming. Having seen it before, you can kind of relax into it. And I have a feeling that these thought loops that we have, as much as we say we don't like them, it's kind of like, yes, I didn't get enough done today. I know this one. I know how it ends.
I like that. That's fun.
Yeah. And maybe in that moment, that's your version of paradise.
Yes.
See, if you can start enjoying the way you are rather than think you ought to be the way you think you ought to be, life could be really nice. Life could be fun. It could be pleasant. But you have an internal commentary that says, oh, this is wrong. I'm wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I should feel, I should do, I should.
Me do.
Right.
Yeah, that is awesome. Thank you so much.
Really fun being with you today.
Yeah, Heike.
You are
yes,
really.
You really are. The only people, you see, we're just trying to convince you of the fact that you're a gift.
Yeah, and if you hear it, maybe we will too.
That's right.
So you're a gift, both of you.
Thank you, sweetheart.
Thanks for being
Thank
with us.
you.
Okay, here we go. It's time for our listener feedback spotlight, where we hear from one of our listeners about how transformation has impacted her life or his life.
If you want to learn more about our seminars, any of the upcoming virtual courses, visit transformationmadeeasy.com.
That is transformation made easy, easy.com.
I love it.
Thank you.
I'm Jutta from Hademstorf in Germany, and I love transformation because it opened up so many possibilities for me in every area of my life, being at my job, being in my private life, private relationships, doing horseback riding, one of my passions. It's just everywhere, and it sets everything in place, or shows that everything actually is in place.
Do you want to have well-being with consistency? Connect with people all over the world from the comfort of your own home at Ariel and Shire's lively interactive Living Made Easy virtual seminars. Join any of their 2-hour online events or take a deep dive into the magic of being you at a virtual weekend seminar. Come on, let's connect. Find out more and register at transformationmadeeasy.com.
This episode is airing while we are on vacation. Lake of the Woods in Ontario. Should be really fun. We'll let you know at some point when we're back. Of course, we pre-recording kind of in advance. So if you want to know the real details, you can come on Saturday the 27th or Monday the 29th to the next Living Made Easy seminars, because as I mentioned, we're on holiday right now. The next weekend seminar we are doing is in person in New Jersey, as I mentioned. the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th of August. The theme is creativity
and intuition. Then we have transformational time and project management. This is a virtual Zoom seminar, September 28th and 29th.
A lot of companies will be happy to pay for you to attend that as well. So if you're listening and you have a feeling, you might even want to check with your, if you work for a company, whether or not they will either pay for or subsidize your tuition, or you could just come. It's very, very worth it. Just a reminder, if you don't yet get our email newsletters, they're great. I highly recommend them. All right, let's take our next
conversation with Lindsay.
Hey, Lindsay. Welcome to being here. Where are you zooming in from?
I'm zooming in from Winnipeg,
Yay.
in Canada.
That's our launching place to go to Lake of the Woods. So awesome.
Yes, we fly in there.
So what can we do for you today?
So I'm wondering, in a sense, so my daughter has some medical issues, and I've been doing a lot of reflection on just how I've been kind of handling parenting around that. And I've come to the conclusion and realization that a lot of the time I'm not celebrating or recognizing her wins, regardless of the magnitude of them. But I'm always like, okay, what's next? What are we going to work on next?
Yes.
And I've kind of just been like, I missed a ton of those. And I don't want her to always think, oh, well, what I'm doing, it doesn't matter.
Hey, you're going to miss every one of them. And I'll tell you why. If you're not here when you're with
your daughter,
what's her name?
Remy.
If you're not with Remy when you're with Remy, when you're thinking about all the other things you have to do, you're missing out on being with her.
But I have a question. When is the last time you celebrated one of your wins?
It's been a while.
Well, you say it's been a while, like you remember which one it was. And I think it's been a while as a generalization because you've been so, and I don't blame you, you've been so busy with your life trying to handle all the details, and it's ever complex.
And, if your daughter has a health condition and, you as a concerned parent and a loving mother, you're doing everything you can to bring her. But nothing forward.
Is ever enough if you're being hard on yourself and not allowing yourself to experience your greatness, your wins, your moment. See, look, Lindsay, life is short. Really. I mean, I look back over my life and it seems to have happened in an instant, but it's been over many years. You can either be here for what's going on, or you can strive to get to a better place. And the problem is there are no better places. We used to go to Maui in Hawaii, and I'd see bumper stickers that said, "Another shitty day in paradise." Everybody held Maui as paradise. When you get to a better place, there are no better places. If you're well and you're in your moment and actually here, not judging it like you should be different, then it is a better moment. I go fishing. So yesterday I'm down at the river, and one of the other gentlemen down there says, "So tell me, where's your favorite place to fish in all the world?" And I said, "It's wherever I'm fishing."
Okay.
I don't have a favorite place to fish. If I'm where I am, it's my favorite place. I'm not fishing for trout thinking I should be fishing for muskie or sailfish or marlin. I'm fishing for trout. That's what I'm doing. Maybe, your life presents you with your moment. See, this is your moment. You're on this podcast with us. That's your moment in this moment.
Right.
You don't have to figure out where you're supposed to be. Look around, you'll find out, you'll see. Where you are is where you're supposed to be. Your whole life has argued for this moment. Your thoughts, your ideas are that this moment should be different. You see that?
Yeah.
But that's the automaticity of your mind. That's like a machine. This isn't it, this isn't it, this isn't it. But what if this really is it?
I'll give you an example of paradise, because I think often we're looking out, looking forward, looking away. Yesterday, I made some soup. It was, I took part recipe, part remembrance, part stuff from my mom. It was really fun to put it all together and have this experiment. It turned out quite well. But once everything got in the pressure cooker, because I was making a lentil soup, it's pretty good. There were bits of onion skin and the coverings for garlic that had, made it down to the floor. And I took the vacuum and I vacuumed it up so that when my feet touched the floor, it was like I wasn't touching any bits, and it all went away. And then there was some stuff that was stuck, and Shia just kind of nudged it with his toe, and then I could vacuum it up. And that was like heaven. It wasn't, oh man, when I get this vacuuming done and the soup is done and I can get on to my real day. And I know people cannot see you. And we have the luxury of having the video on. And I look and I'm just seeing the little pieces of your room, and I see the paint where you have like this motif by the door itself with different dots of colored paint. And it's normal for us to include what's in our room and forget how magnificent it is. And there's something about allowing yourself to be where you are and appreciate your sense of beauty and your sense of style and, just what it is to be you.
And Lindsay, you are worth it. You're worth investing in. For you.
It's just, I find it's a really hard shift to make, in the sense of you're so used to looking forward. And like, especially when it comes to her, of just like, okay, we got to hit these next milestones, and like, we got to get XYZ done and whatever, that I find like I'm trying to shift that mindset, but it's hard. It's so hard.
I'm going to change the mindset. The mind is a machine.
If you notice what you said to Heike, we're like, it's automatic that she's going to think she should be different. Mm-hmm. It's automatic that you're going to want to hit those milestones.
But you can be with
Remy and be with yourself.
Your life as you go for those things. See, you drop you out when you're going for something in the future.
Yeah.
Drop out the current moment when you're going for some future something that's supposed to be better. See, it's all just exactly as it is right now. Like it or don't like it, this is it. Now, if you engage in this moment like this is all you got, not like you have that thing off in the future to do. We're going to be going to Lake of the Woods up in Ontario when this is airing. But right now, I don't think about that at all.
Only in terms of if there's anything we need to do for the setup for the trip, like airlines or whatever, we'll do that in this moment, but we're not pining for the day.
When we get there, it'll be better. I was, like I said, down at the river yesterday, and there was this fellow, his name is Jim, and he was putting on his waders. And I said, how you doing? He said, I'm good, but I'll be better in a few minutes. Meaning when he got down to the river, as if the river was better. So he disregards the moment of putting on his boots. putting on your boots can be an amazing event if you're there for it.
Right.
You know, there's something I just want to switch gears ever so slightly, because when we're like, when have you celebrated your wins? And you were looking and you're like, it's been a long time. It wasn't that long ago that you came to a Living Made Easy seminar. And I want to talk about just your attending a Living Made Easy seminar in and of itself, aside from how you are when you get there. For you, in my experience, that is a win, that you've carved a couple hours out of your day for you. And you were telling us not too long ago that Remy said, oh, mommy, can I come join you? You're like, nope, this is mommy time. I need this time. And that you were willing to just do something for you. That's a win. And I don't think you really register it. And if you allow yourself to register it, it'll be easier to register it as well.
You don't get how amazing you are. See, you got a story back in there, and I can read it when I look at you. It's just one of my talents. Okay?
The book of Lindsay.
And whoever it is, I can read their book. But the thing is this. Your interpretation of that book and my interpretation of that book are very different interpretations. I see your greatness and your brilliance when I look at that book. You see that it should have been different. You should have been born a princess.
Yeah, that's fair. That is a fair assessment.
And where was the wrong place? Well, I got news for you. That's the way it is for most everybody. And that's not justifying it. That's just saying, we have an idea that our life should have been different, and we weren't there as it was going on because we were in a complaint that it should have been different. So, but here's the thing. You've got this moment, and this moment is really all there is. Past has gone by. Future hasn't got here yet. So you can be here for your life because it all starts newly in the current moment. It's not that you have to do anything different. It's an attitudinal shift away from complaint and into discovery and into looking at your life without thinking it ought to be different, but thinking it's perfectly worked out. Everything you did in your whole life got you to this moment. Isn't that incredible?
Yeah. It's very true. I hadn't thought about it that way.
Failures were successes because they got you here. And this is a pretty good place, actually.
It is.
You're the only person right now that's hanging out with Ariel and Shia.
Great place to be.
It is, actually.
And we're the only people who have the privilege to hang out with Lindsay.
That's right. In Winnipeg. Now, are you from Winnipeg?
I am.
So you were born in Winnipeg.
I was actually born, I grew up on the street right across, my parents still live there. It's a 4-minute walk from my current house. So I'm not far from home at all.
That's great. But see, here's the thing. Ariel's family thought traveling was what was important. That was sophisticated. If you're a world traveler. So when I asked Ariel 40 years ago or so to marry me, her sister said, don't do it. He's too old. You'll never travel. As if traveling was the goal in life that made life exciting. But you can travel from your kitchen to your dining room and discover magic.
That's very true.
You can wash your dishes and discover magic.
If
you're here.
Vacuuming too.
And vacuuming, you see?
Yeah.
That's
great.
If you're here.
It is great. And I really think, if you find yourself in your mind, driving toward the next milestone with your daughter, that's clue. That's just a cue that you're not allowing yourself to enjoy you in this moment where you are.
Or allowing yourself to feel, because I know there's frustration in there.
And sometimes sadness and sometimes pain. And so, we drive ourselves past that. And, yesterday was one of those mornings where I got up and I woke up fairly early, and I'd been to the doctor and he told me basically don't do all the things I normally do. You really need, right? I go for a walk. You need to rest your leg. And I'm like, I could either get up there and do emails or what if I just hang out for a little while and read? And the cat kept coming and sitting with me, and the birds were singing, and it was beautiful. And I did something really weird. I actually finished a book in the morning. Normally, reading for pleasure is an evening thing after all my quote chores and business things are done, and the day with Shia is done.
Like a reward.
What? Your life right here, right now could be the reward. And that you don't have to prove to yourself anything more about anything.
Oh, look, we're very good judges of people. Okay? Just to let you know, you're a good person. Because from time to time, you don't think so.
She's nodding. I know.
Yeah.
She got into the nodding portion. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, welcome to the club. I don't know only somebody who's a jerk thinks always that they're a good person. Well, I don't know if that's true, but I just don't know anybody who actually always knows their full value. They can't, you see that through other people's eyes.
Yeah.
Part of why it's really fun when you have somebody who hasn't either been in your home for a while or has never come, and you invite them over and you start to see what you've created for yourself through their eyes. It's like, oh.
It's like the things that you think aren't significant, they see as something magical.
Yeah.
Well said.
Yeah.
And
That's a great point.
You, my dear, produce that magic all around you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
And I know there are days that are tough.
Yeah. And
But that doesn't mean that they're not magical. They're just tough.
And I know,
especially when you say no to how it shows up.
Heike's in the background smiling because, she's still here while we're finishing the recording. And our great producer, Jen, is probably nodding in the background too. We all know what that's like. So, yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Yes.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Thank you.
For being here.
And thanks for being you. You're an amazing person.
Thank you, Shia.
You don't get it. I get it.
And if we tell you that too many times, we won't see you for a long time.
I know.
Wow. That's great. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, Lindsay.
Hey, you can subscribe to this podcast, share it with your friends. You can subscribe to our newsletter. You can find everything that we have to offer, including all our courses and the newsletter sign-up link at transformationmadeeasy.com. Okay.
Yes.
You came up with that name. You made it easy.
Yes.
Transformation made easy. We used to have to go ask-inc.com, ASK-. Oof. Next week's podcast
is teamwork.
Teamwork makes the dream work. Okay, teamwork. It's just teamwork. I just added that. Okay. We'll be back next week.
Thanks, team.
Yeah, so come on back.
And don't miss being here.
I like that.